Welcome to this episode of Content in Commerce. And I'm not supposed to use that voice, but I got to use it every once in a while. We are the trio of content experts here. And we're here for 15 minutes. So today we're going to talk about some of the things that we learned at Shop Talk. We're going to talk about AEO, and we're going to talk about humans in the loop. So to get us started, Isaac, why don't you tell us a little bit of what you learned at Shop Talk?
Yeah, so I learned a lot about agentic commerce, which is definitely a buzzword that I've been hearing throughout the year. And, I had a general understanding. It's, AI integrating itself into the process of online shopping. But Shop Talk was great for hearing all kinds of nitty-gritty details about how it's going to work, different people's visions for what the future is going to look like, and most importantly, how you can use content to position yourself to succeed, because agentic commerce is going to be a humongous change. One of the best ways of explaining it that I heard at the conference is basically uh, e-commerce took an enormous bite out of brick and mortar retail. So people don't always go to your store anymore, but they still buy from you on your website. And what's going to happen next is that agentic commerce is going to take a big bite out of your website. But even though people don't go to your website, they can still buy from you, just like people still buy from you even though they don't go to your store. And what that's going to look like is, ChatGPT is rolling out AI-based shopping. So is Perplexity. So are some other platforms. And even on your own website, there's all kinds of tools coming out where you can offer people an agentic experience. But to start, let's just use ChatGPT as an example. So imagine they've rolled out shopping, and now you're coming online to buy a new guitar. And instead of, going to guitarcenter.com or to, maybe even the e-commerce site of your favorite local guitar craftsman or something, maybe you type in like, hey, I want an electric guitar. I like to busk. Sometimes I sing and I play over a clean tone. Sometimes I like to solo with a, more distorted bluesy tone over that. I need a guitar that's durable, something that's not too uh, something at a nice level, but that's not too expensive because I'm going to be playing it on the street. All these criteria that you might have for the thing you're buying. And ChatGPT can essentially respond by generating a landing page that gives you the best results and a way to buy them right there. It could accumulate like the reviews. It could give you like custom like graphs or layouts of how all these charts, how all these different features stack up to each other. And essentially, instead of going to some static landing page on guitarcenter.com, you might be going to a completely, like getting a custom generated landing page for exactly what you want. So you can imagine that's going to affect e-commerce retailers in a lot of big ways. On the downside, it's going to be harder to do cross-selling because if someone's buying that guitar straight from ChatGPT, they might not be putting strings from Guitar Center into their cart. But on the flip side, it means AI optimization is about to become so important. So just like how you could dominate with search engine optimization by explaining your ideas really well in the early days and up to this point, nowadays getting optimized for AI is about to, just like the importance that's going to become on steroids, because as agentic AI takes over, this whole LLMs replacing search engines thing is going to happen way faster and way more. So that is, I think in a nutshell, the big change that this conference made me realize, like, it's time to get ready for, and it's time to hammer this home in our content marketing of like, your content isn't just for ranking on Google, it's for ranking on LLMs, and it's even for selling directly on LLMs. And things like Google Ads, Google Search, if you're reliant on those, it's time to, future-proof yourself and create content to rank better on LLMs.
That's awesome, man. And David, I know one thing that you were working on last night or last week in terms of just performance and figuring out what people are doing is you were working on some just finding some site data about what people what's how sites are responding using the Google Lighthouse tool. And
Hmm.
you really uncovered some sites that are loading in like 18 seconds. And
Yeah,
talk a little bit about the importance of performance on your website and
sure,
how much money you can lose, especially if you're loading in, let's say you load in 18 seconds.
sure. So before I mention that, I have a question for Isaac and for you too, Brent, because I know that you guys are pretty big into agentic commerce. But how does, for example, I'm a store owner and I just spend some money developing my website. I have my WooCommerce, so I have to my Magento side. How does the store like how did the when the e-commerce came? How did the brick and mortar store fit in the picture? How does now the digital store fit on the picture?
Yeah, there's a term for that called clienteling, where you're trying to get the consumer who comes into your store to go to your website. So I think that one thing that's happening is especially that at POS at the point of sale, you want your sales associates to be encouraging people to go to the website to start buying online, to increase the amount of people that are going both in store and out of store. And I think one thing that I saw and learned at Shop Talk last week was the ability for stores now to not surveil their customers, but also but just know who's in the store. And they talked about some facial recognition, which is it's going to be some hard for a lot of people to do. But like let's just face it, like you go to the
Yeah.
airline, you go through customs even now, and they're going to check your face, right? You
Yeah.
go to Clear. I get my Clear user. I go to Clear. There's no more retina scan. They just look at my face. I think we're going to see more of that to recognize you as a user than to
Hmm.
come into the store. And then a sales associate's going to know what type of things you're looking for. They're going to know that you're looking for some type of running shoe or whatever that thing is that you're doing. So that's how the connection is happening right now.
Okay.
There's all kinds of different other ways of connecting, but clienteling is the buzzword that we're seeing.
Okay. Clienteling. Okay. Good. Thanks.
So
Another
yeah, go ahead.
answer,
Sorry.
yeah. Okay, so another way I saw that you can prepare your actual website for agentic commerce is by using agentic commerce plugins or tools to build these kinds of experiences on your site. So instead of just a search, where maybe you type in running shoes into your store search bar and you get like the results, you can add tools that will help you build custom landing pages in the moment for the person who's searching too. Integrating generative AI
Hmm.
to your site. And then another answer to your question of how to prepare your website for this or how this is going to affect your website is publishing content on your site is still a great way of training LLMs and influencing AI to use you as a source instead of your competitors. So, your site is still a great hub and place to publish content that will still inform customers, even if it's coming through the filter of OpenAI,
Hmm.
for example.
And I want to circle back to my original question that I asked David about the performance and how what you're finding and what interesting statistics you found in your research that you did around how fast people's sites performed.
Hmm.
And I think one thing that was interesting on the list that you showed us was more than 60%, I would say, are really they get Fs, right? And
Yeah.
and maybe tell us what F means from Google.
Well, I think a F pretty much means that either your website loads slow, right? I mean, there is this what is called the web core vitals, right? And that is, I think, that's the big shift to that Google did. What was it like? Made like 4 years, 5 years ago, from regular whatever to now the but I think is what it is that if everything is fine, if your web core vitals, you get an A, right? If out of all the core vitals that you have, you miss 2, you may get a B. You miss 4, C, etc., etc. And if you miss all of them, or most all of them, you get an F, right? Now, I believe that also depending on if you have maybe your site loads really slow, right? And that is the only thing that you have. You are good in SEO, you are good in best practices, you are good in all of the other ones, but your site loads really slow. Google is not even probably gonna, and ChatGPT, I think we talked about this a month ago, right? ChatGPT is not gonna even look at your website. Your website takes 18 seconds to load. Chances are that we'll never look back, right? It's like, okay, well, I'll give up with this one. Versus, if your site takes a couple seconds, probably ChatGPT say, well, if anything, at least I'm gonna try to crawl it, right?
So, yeah, I think the underlying message there is if there's 3 simple guys that can come up with this list, and it comes up with an F, and F means that that all the other ones are seeing that as well, and they're seeing that you're not loading.
Exactly. And probably it's a really simple way for ChatGPT to figure it out. I'm not even gonna try to do, because I know I did it yesterday, and your site got an F. Chances are that they don't do it. They don't look back until a while, right? I don't, who knows? It's like trying to figure out the Google algorithm is like, I don't know. You need a LLM to try to figure out that. So just.
All right, we got a couple of minutes. We have 3 minutes left. I do want to just kind of talk about what I learned at Shop Talk last week, and the overarching conversations were around the fact that LLMs and generative content has taken a course of, hey, this was great in the beginning and it seemed like it would solve everybody's problems, but you know what? It kind of sucks. And we're getting a lot of synergy in our game-changing habits, and it's not any different than Joe's malt shop and Jenny's haircutting salon, that it's really generic and that people want to have content. I resonated with what I think one of the media people at the event said, that they are right now seeing human written content outperform generative AI content by 10 times. And they're a publication, they have 300 properties. So 10 times is a huge number. And I think we're going to see that more and more. And I think you as a merchant, you as a marketing person, have to be aware that if you're lazy, and let's face it, if you're just plain lazy, if you just auto publish everything, that you are going to pay the price in the future. Just like if you don't invest in your SEO now, you are going to pay the price because you're not going to be there. So all those people that think, hey, content isn't really where it's at, we'll rely on paid ads, or we'll rely on this. Hey, when you turn off your paid ads, your traffic goes away. If you're generating great content, that is what we call evergreen content. That's and right. That content sticks on your site for perpetuity. Yeah. And that's a word that I just used.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isaac, give us a closing. We got 1 minute left. Give us a closing word on why people should be looking at humans to write their content.
Yeah, closing word. I think AI is going to, so redundant to say at this point, but AI is becoming more and more important. It's disrupting Google search. The monopoly of Google search is going away, and that's getting replaced with is search through AI and search through socials. And by publishing stuff on your site, by publishing stuff on socials, you're just setting yourself up to share your ideas in those new environments and to stay relevant, even if something as big and important as Google Ads or Google Search goes away or goes down. So I think share your ideas, share them well and thoughtfully, and not just with a copy-paste ChatGPT post, and you'll see the benefits.
I would say, just to expand a little bit more, I mean, not that I need to, but he did a good job, but I would say it's kind of like for those of us who like to do some housework, it's kind of like going to the Home Depot here and spending $2,000 on the latest laser compound miter saw, and then trying to install crown molding on the roof, right on the top, right? Is that it's never gonna. You still need to know how crown molding works, how to use the tool, and you can't replace the human, right? Because there are so many unknowns. So it's the same, right? AI, it will help the human. If you don't use AI, chances are that you're gonna suffer too. But if that's the only thing that you use, like you said, Brent, your content is gonna be so generic that okay, good, right?
All right, well, we're out of time. We are the Three Agentic Guys, and I just came up with that phrase without even
Three
putting
amigos.
that. We're the Three Amigos, but we're the Three Agentic Amigos.
Ahí está.
We're the Three Agentic Amigos. We'll be here in 2 weeks or next week. I'm not really sure when we're going to be here soon. Let's just say we're here on Thursdays at noon. If we're not here, it means that we're at a beach or we're taking some time off or we're putting up crown molding. See
Like
you next
you're
week.
gonna do soon, probably, Brent.